Hello and welcome wherever you're listening and watching to 2020 Coaching Convos, passionately curious as usual with me, Julie Crabb. It's 2025 and I'm still doing what I love, connecting with others by hosting conversations with guest coaches, continuing the pursuit of learning. So this is, unfortunately, the last episode in this series, Series 3, our last time to hear about the passions and interests of coaches, what fires them up, what keeps them learning and exploring. And our last time on the series to take the opportunity to figure out what we want to learn from these passions for our own coaching practice. So this week, my guest is another person who I've been co-coaching with, I think for over 2 years now, most every week bar our holidays pretty much. And she's helped me enormously with my personal development through our coaching conversations. She is a qualified coach, and having worked for the UN, she's travelled and lived in a wide variety of countries and settings, and is now living back in Australia. And she continues to work for the UN as a senior consultant. So welcome, Sharon Arnott.
Thanks so much, Julie. A pleasure to be here with you.
And so that's good. It's really lovely to have you. I mean, it kind of feels strange because we usually have this session on a Monday evening for you, morning for me, as our usual weekly coaching session. But today we're doing a special recording. So how are you today, Sharon?
I'm fabulous, thank you. And always look forward to our Monday sessions and looking forward to tonight as well.
Good. So thank you for giving up the weekly session for us to record this. I really want to get into talking about your passion. But I wonder if we could just start with you telling us about how you came to get into coaching.
Thank you, Julie. I think I've been interested in coaching for quite a while. I've always worked in the tertiary sector and I've always taught modules in coaching. And when I moved to Abu Dhabi, one of my roles was the head of training for the Auditor General in Abu Dhabi. And I set up a organisation-wide coaching and mentoring program. And I think that's the first time I really became very, very passionate about coaching and started coaching a number of staff in that organisation. And then when I moved to Jordan and was the head of training and staff training there, I also set up another organisational-wide coaching and mentoring program, and as well as doing that, coached a number of staff, particularly young females, which I really enjoy doing. So I guess I've been involved in coaching for quite a long time, but it wasn't until 2021 when I decided to actually attain the qualification, and we both did the same course and met in the course, and we've been working together since then. So, I mean, I have been involved in coaching for quite a long time. I've always believed in it. I always think it's just so empowering.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Sharon, thank you for that. I'd quite forgotten what an expert you are in introducing coaching into large organizations as well. So I think that will be of interest to some people listening. So we've got about 15 minutes to satisfy curiosity about your passion today. Sharon, can you please introduce the passion that you want to share with listeners and viewers and for us to talk about?
Well, it's about having great health. And by great health, I mean emotional, psychological, physical, all the things that enable you to feel that you're in a good place, a place of well-being, a place of contentment. And great health is important for all things. So that is the topic that I want to talk about today. Thank you, Julie.
Fantastic. And how does that align with your values, Sharon? I know we've talked a lot about values as we've been coaching together.
I think that it's so important. I think it is the basis for everything. If you have good health, then you're more motivated to do the things that are really, really important for you. And you have the space and you have the bandwidth to deal effectively with things that come your way. And I just find it so important in terms of ensuring that you have that growth mindset, that you can overcome limiting beliefs with a positive attitude. it's incredibly important in terms of sticking to your values and understanding what your values are.
Yes, because fundamentally our values are the things that drive us, aren't they? Oh, excuse me,
Correct.
my throat. Talking about health here. Yeah, so you mentioned limiting beliefs, and I was thinking quite a lot of clients come to us with things that they're stuck with, things that they're struggling with. And if it's about health, what do you find that people struggle with most in terms of achieving good health?
It's many things, really. But I have had a lot of clients talk to me about losing weight. And so I guess, and not being physically strong, so wanting to be fitter, and wanting to have more self-control, wanting to be able to control their emotions more. Maybe they're having conflict with a colleague at work. So all of those things really fall under that banner of having great health. And all of those things are really, when I think about all of the clients that I have coached over the years, these are the really form most of the issues that people come to you with in one way or another. It is about health.
Mm, yes, yeah, and about how we are in our whole beings, our
Correct.
holistic beings. Yeah. So, can you say a bit more about emotions and how you might work with emotion and how you can help people to control their emotions?
Mm. When it comes to emotions, it really is about self-understanding. So it's trying to help people to have that element of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Um, and if they've got that level of emotional intelligence and they have the ability to control their emotions, they've got the ability to decide when and where to elicit a particular emotion. They can think long term, is this the right opportunity to raise this issue now, or is it better kept for a later time? And I think it is all about timing, but you need to have control over your emotions in order for you to realize your goals, for you to be able to live by your values. So it is about that element of control, which really is about having emotional intelligence.
Mm. You've just reminded me that actually quite often we can get into what in coaching we might call states, emotional experiences, which are not helpful for our situation. Um, and with some control, we can recognize that and make changes to that state so that we're better resourced to deal with the situation. Um,
Absolutely.
and I was thinking about the timing piece. Is there any more that you can say about that, how timing matters?
I think really, again, when you have a good sense of self-awareness, and understanding really what matters to you and what's driving you and what you want to achieve, then you can think about when the right time to push yourself, when is the right time for you to not push yourself. And it's that understanding that some people have on a different level than others.
Mm,
So often, when we coach our clients, we ask them, what kind of emotional state are you in tonight? Would you like me to push you? Would you like me to be more moderate? Where are you at? Because our moods are always changing, and those moods drive our emotions, and those moods drive our motivation. So just think about what it feels like when you're having a great week and you're exercising and you're walking and you feel positive and you get everything done versus when you feel a little bit unwell and your mind starts ruminating over old um, situations. You're just out of sync. But if you have that self-understanding, you know that, okay, I know that this is not the week to bring that up with that person, or to speak to my boss about a new raise, or to join that Zumba class. You know that you're not quite there yet. So it is about just seeing where you're at and then navigating appropriately to ensure that you do what's right for you at that time.
mm. That's interesting about timing, and the way you were talking made me think some of it's about intuition that we can build as a result of self-awareness. Hmm. So you mentioned like to push or not to push. We do that in coaching, but we also do that for us. If we learn, we can do that for ourselves. Like as you said, is this a good time to push myself or not? How do you personally get a good balance in that so that you can maintain a steady sense of good health?
I am old school. I do like to write things in my diary, and I do believe strongly in discipline. So I do prioritize my health and I make sure that I do the things that I need to do for myself to feel that I'm in a good place. So eat well, exercise, meditate, write in my gratitude journal. They're all the things that keep me in a positive and healthy space so that I can ensure that I can motivate myself to drive myself forward and meet the other goals that I need to meet.
Mhm.
So
Um,
I would say discipline and being organized.
okay. And we all go off the rails from time to time, don't we? What do you think's important in terms of our self-talk when that happens?
It's being kind to ourselves. Being kind to ourselves and realizing that with most things in life that you're committed to, you're in it for the long game. So it doesn't matter if you don't feel very well and you miss a couple of sessions or you don't get around to doing your gratitude or you miss your meditation. It's okay because this is something that you have embraced as a lifelong commitment. So, going on a holiday or taking a break because you need it or missing here and there shouldn't change anything.
I really like that actually. It's very easy, well, for me certainly, to forget that health is a lifelong commitment. It's not something that you just wake up in the morning and think, oh, don't feel so good. I need to focus on. But it's something that's, it's a long-term goal, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Sharon, just going back to you reminding me about the extensive work you've done with organizations and setting up coaching and mentoring programs. Can you tell us a bit about how coaching can impact the health of an organization more than just an individual?
It's so important, and I can see the benefits of setting up coaching programs in organisations on so many different levels. If I think about the one that was set up in Jordan, it allowed for younger staff to seek out coaches who are more mature and they could ask them questions that they were maybe too embarrassed to ask their managers. So they could go to, the doctor and say, I'm really not that great at giving a needle. Could you help me to be better at that? And organise some coaching sessions and have that person work with them to actually improve that skill. So I've seen it firsthand. And it obviously coaching is very different from mentoring, but it really can be used to build capacity in organisations, and it can be done, on any topic that someone is struggling with. And it can be a technical skill in an organisation that someone feels a little bit too embarrassed to ask a colleague because their colleague may assume they should know that, or a little bit unsure to ask their supervisor. But if you have allocated coaches who are subject experts, then you can have people that go to those coaches and seek them out and say, I'm struggling with this. And with that, the coach can also help them and talk to them about maybe being, communication and having more confidence and those things as well. So I think it's incredibly important because organisations are so big and a lot of individuals struggle in organisations, and not everybody has that level of support.
Mm, yeah.
So if you set it up and make it available to people and you believe in it, it's just a fabulous and underutilized resource.
Mm. I can really hear your passion in you saying as you're talking about that. It's amazing. Okay, well,
And
but go on.
sorry, Jill. Just the other thing as well is coaching is reciprocal. You get as much as you give. it works both ways. You learn so much from the people that you coach, and the people that you coach learn so much from you. So it's a perfect relationship in that way.
Mm, yes. Do you know, Sharon, it occurs to me, I'm just going to ask you an off-the-wall question. We haven't kind of talked about this before, but because I know you as a coach who has such a fantastic repertoire of really piercing and challenging questions, what's your favorite question? What's the question that gives you the most value or gives the client the most value when you ask it? That's a rotten on the spot one, isn't it?
There's so many. Sometimes I think what works really well with a client is to rephrase something back, particularly if they say something along the lines of, no, that never works for me. And you say, that never works for you. And I think sometimes when you ask the question in that way, it really makes them reflect because quite often it's not as dire as they think, or they have made a generalization, or it highlights that they are thinking or being driven by their limiting beliefs.
Mm,
So I think that can be very, very powerful because things are often just said. And when they're followed up and you ask the person to really examine the point they've just made, it can be very powerful.
yes, yeah, totally agree. Thank you, Sharon. So amazingly, we're coming really close to the end of the podcast episode, and it's time for me to ask some quick fire questions, if I may. So the first one is, what do you have particular success with in relation to your passion? What do you have particular success with in relation to having good health?
Um, I think the gratitude and the appreciation that I feel from having good health. I think the fact that I know that I'm going to feel better when I do the things that are good for my body drives me to ensure that I do them.
Mm, yeah, and I can see that can be reinforcing, can't it? You do it, you
Absolutely.
experience it, you want to do it again. Yeah. And Sharon, what one thing would you want coaches to take away about your passion for good health?
I think that it's so important that we encourage our clients to have great health and to try and, find a balanced lifestyle because I think if they have that, then the chance of them achieving what they want to achieve is far greater than if
Mm,
they don't have that sense of well-being.
hmm. Okay, that's really
So I
helpful.
think
Thank
that's just incredibly important.
you. Mm. And then lastly, how can people reach you in your coaching practice? They maybe are intrigued by your expertise in bringing coaching and mentoring into large organizations, or maybe want to contact you on a one-to-one basis. How do they get hold of you?
People are welcome to email me on arnottsharon at hotmail.com. So that is ARNOTTSHARON at hotmail.com.
Fabulous. And we'll make sure that we put that detail in the episode description as well, Sharon. Brilliant. So my enormous thanks go from me to you, Sharon Arnott, for being my final guest with passion in this series on 2020 Coaching Convos, Passionately Curious. And to 2020 podcast followers, if you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed listening to Sharon and me having a conversation about coaching, go ahead and share and subscribe to it and keep an eye and ear out for series 4 of 2020 Coaching Convos with me, Julie Crabb. Till next time.